Right now, life has us keeping our distance, but there's never been a more important time to come together. Scouting looks a little different than what we're used to, sure, but across the country, Scouts are coming together to learn, grow, and serve even while apart, because that's what Scouting has always been about. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Our culture is one of perseverance and determination. Our foundation is that of always being prepared. When you think about it, we've been preparing for times like these for over 100 years. Because for the past century, we've been pioneers, adventurers, helpers, scouts. Nothing can stop us. We've got this. We are Scouts.
Good evening, Pathfinder District, and welcome to a very special event tonight. Welcome to the first ever fully virtual live stream of a Pathfinder District Roundtable. Obviously, we would much rather be meeting in person. There's a lot that we need to cover, but we're also being very mindful of the fact that we are in a different world right now with the COVID-19 situation. We want to be mindful of city and state requirements and travel restrictions, but at the same time, Scouting is going to continue. We still need to make plans. We still need to get out our information. And so here we are. This is going to be a little bit different of a format than we're used to for a roundtable. Tonight, as your communications chair, I'm kind of running the show as an MC. Think of this as kind of like a podcast or a talk show in a way. So I'm going to be bringing other people in and out. Don't worry, you're not just looking at me for the rest of the night. But without further ado, it wouldn't be an appropriate roundtable experience without bringing in the Alan Wente, who we can hear his voice right now. We're still working on a little bit of the video technology. But Alan, how are you this evening?
You know, I haven't been outside since about 6:30 this morning, so I can't even tell you what it's like. But greetings from the basement of Franciscan Health Hospital, where we are running around treating all those community members who need it, and we are glad to do so. But yeah, so it's time to talk about some great activities that are coming up over the next few months and weeks and years and everything that we get planning for. But before I get into that, and many of you may have seen it, I do just want to offer up into our prayers Mark Mandel and his family. He is our former district chair, and his mother passed away Tuesday evening, maybe Wednesday morning. And so during this time of Good Friday and Passover and Easter, I do want all of us in the Scouting family to lift Mark and his family up in our prayers and keep them mindful as they are dealing with this grief and this passing. So let's begin with Merit Badge University, and you may have seen some of the chatter on Facebook. Unfortunately, due to Center Grove canceling all of their rentals and reservations, Merit Badge University, which was going to be at Center Grove, one of the Center Grove schools, has been canceled for this spring. There, in the current environment, we are just not able at all to find a replacement location. And with the mandates for the social distancing, it's just not in our best interest to be doing this. And so there are some virtual Merit Badge universities that have been popping up from other councils. I have not seen anything from our Crossroads Council yet. I did get an email, hopefully you did too, just today or yesterday about being a virtual Merit Badge counselor. But unfortunately, Merit Badge University for the spring has been canceled. We are looking to do one in the fall and maybe one in the winter. They might be smaller, more focused events to try to get some advancement spurred, I guess, after the camp season, the high adventure season. So keep an eye out for updates on some potential Merit Badge universities coming up. We're talking about camp a little bit. I do just want to remind everybody that to lock in your early bird rates for Randsburg and some of our council camps, your early bird payment balance is due next Wednesday. That's April the 15th. I know it's difficult to be collecting that money with not being able to see parents and scouts on a regular basis. Some aspects you could do to overcome that. You can open up the parent payment portal in the Crossroads payment, the Black Pug, so that you can actually open that. Parents can go right in there and make those payments themselves directly to the council. As my troop does it, we use the Square app for our credit cards, and through that account, we can actually send out invoices. It ends up in the parents' email boxes, just saying, click this button here to pay your $250 or whatever that is, and they can make that payment through a secure web server. So whatever kind of options you can come up with your troop, just remember that to lock in that early bird rate, it is still due next Wednesday. The camps are still planning on opening on time. They are still making the purchases they need to make now, so they need to have that kind of revenue coming in to cover their costs. But yeah, so right now, as we are planning everything is a go for camps. If you do have questions about that, there is an updated refund policy due to the COVID outbreak, so that if camps are canceled, if sessions of camps are canceled, so let's say we're not able to go on week 1, all those payments from week 1 are fully refunded. If a scout or a family member of that scout is dealing with the COVID virus themselves, then that is a full refund. And then if there are parents who don't want to send their scouts to camp due to a COVID fear, then they can actually get a credit with the council. So it's not a refund, but it is a credit that they can use for future camps. So, but let's make sure that we are getting those payments collected, and then we can help support our camps and get them off on the right foot. And yes, Keith, that is right. They are still accepting campership applications. So that way, if somebody is facing a financial hardship at this time due to COVID COVID concerns and furloughing and or job displacement, there are those camperships for grabs. Do we want to pass it over to Josh Prine for a minute to talk about District Day Camp?
Well, hello, Pathfinder. I'm the District Day Camp Director this year. Just wanted to come out and say that we are planning on having camp. This year's theme is Hometown Heroes, which we are hoping to feature the police and fire, even some local heroes within the county here. So day camp is scheduled for June 22nd to June 26th at FFA Center in Trafalgar, Indiana, just like we have had in the past recent years. A couple of dates to reminder, as Alan has already stated, is early bird registration. Also, let's see here, May 1st is a payment date, and all payments are supposed to be made prior to 2 weeks before camp. So if units have any youth or adults that are interested in participating, being on staff, please contact me. My email address is josh.prine@gmail.com. So we look forward to everybody coming at day camp this year. And if anybody has a question, feel free to reach out to me or Alan or anybody else on the district staff.
Thanks, Josh. That's a great update. And I look forward to seeing everybody at FFA. Pathfinder is known to run one of the best district day camps in the council, and I think Josh and his team are well on the right path to making that occur again. We did have a scouting for food meeting last night for the council level. Chris Crowell, our scouting for food chairman, attended. All in-person donations, like a door-to-door or a standing out in front of the Kroger and collecting foods, those have been canceled. So do not go door-to-door and leave bags. Do not go and stand in front of a Kroger. But they were trying to brainstorm ideas for units to keep to do. So maybe they are, collecting funds to purchase things through Amazon or for their local food banks, or some kind of fundraising efforts that they can do virtually through social media. But there is no door-to-door collection for Scouting for Food this year. There is no standing in front of your local grocery stores. But at the same time, this is a time when our food pantries desperately need our support. So if anything your troops can do, is going to be greatly appreciated to help support the Scouting for Food in our local food banks. You should have just started receiving, and if you haven't yet, you may go back and check your email, but it is time for the ideal year of scouting. The ideal year of scouting is generally what we talk about at the April Roundtable. And so that is when we start talking about budgeting and calendars and camping and all those fun events that go with being a part of the scouting program. So the council is actually going to be doing some smaller Zoom calls for units to kind of walk them through the ideal year of scouting. So make sure that you check your email, your unit leaders check their email, and that they can sign up for one of those sessions and really kind of get walked through and get their next year's programming all set up and ready to go. Unfortunately, we just received word recently that the spring camporee that was being hosted by a different district that's escaping me off the top of my head has been canceled. They were not able to get everything pulled together, and just without that crystal ball knowing when the social distancing is going to be let up and everything, they did go ahead and cancel the spring camporee. So clear that weekend off your calendar, do some yard work, go out, do some service if you can, but do not show up for the spring camporee. That has been canceled. We are still moving ahead with our plans as Pathfinder District to host the winter camporee in 2021. We're looking late January 2021. If you'd like to be part of that group, we meet on a monthly basis. We've been meeting electronically, and it is going to be, thanks, Chris Crowell, we meet virtually. We're just kind of planning out locations. We are planning out events, and so it's going to be a lot of fun. Chris Crowell just reminded me that there may be a renewed effort for Scouting for Food later this year. So yes, so as we're able to get back together again and canvass those neighborhoods, then we're going to do our best to support our local neighborhoods. I believe just one other thing from me I do want to point out, and those that were registered have been notified by now, but the spring NYLT course and the spring wood badge courses have been postponed to the fall as well. So those will be, I believe NYLT is late August or early September, and then the spring wood badge is actually in September as well, at the same time as the traditionally scheduled fall wood badge course. So they're going to do kind of a combined effort on those courses to really kind of get a bunch of energy going around adult leader training. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'd highly encourage you to go. The Pathfinder is being well represented on the staff there, so it's going to be a lot of fun. But the spring wood badge course and the spring NYLT course have been moved to the fall. Other activity updates, I'm going to pass it off to Matthew Kennedy to talk a little bit about the District Pinewood.
Thank you very much, Alan. I appreciate that. The District Pinewood Derby, we did post this a little while ago, is officially postponed. It was scheduled for April 18th. Because of the current situation and all of the postponements that are taking place, the District Pinewood Derby is officially postponed. We are not saying that it is canceled. Our hope is that at some point we will be able to reschedule that event, but we can't say for sure yet that that is going to be a possibility. There are a lot of different factors that are going to factor into that. First of all, we need to make sure that obviously the travel restrictions are lifted, because so long as we can't have people travel to even get to a Pinewood Derby, we're not going to go against those restrictions. We will also need to find new locations. We're exploring the idea of possibly doing the Pinewood Derby digitally or virtually, where the cars could be dropped off at a set location, and then we would do the race while still minding social distancing requirements. Instead of having everyone in one large room, we could broadcast the event live, similar to what we're doing right now, so that everybody could watch it. But until we know what the timeline is going to look like, we can't really schedule something in stone. Once we start getting into summer camp season, depending on those arrangements, it also becomes difficult. So it is officially postponed as of this time. We will give more updates as things progress and as more information becomes available. A couple of things. First of all, now that we're through the activities portion, before we move on to the next section, I do want to welcome everybody to the stream. We keep growing more and more viewers on all of our different platforms. You can watch this currently through Facebook, through YouTube, and also through our district website page on the council's website. This is still a roundtable, and attendance counts. So if you have a moment, and we already have a lot of activity in all of our different comments and chats, please make a quick comment just with your name and your unit number so that we can take a tally of who is here. If you are coming in and watching this after the fact, this is being recorded. It is something that we'll be able to share with people who couldn't make it tonight for whatever reason. Go ahead and comment as well, just so we know who's here and we can give everybody credit for attending Roundtable. After the broadcast is over, we'll take a tally of all of those names. We will remove those names in the broadcast, so you don't have to worry about having your information just sitting there for all time. We'll leave all the comments up, but we will at least take your names down after we take attendance. So thank you so much for that. This is a roundtable, and we don't want to just have us be the ones talking constantly. So if you have a question, as you've noticed, we've had several comments come up so far through the streams. If you have a comment or a question, please feel free to put it in there. Please keep them scouting appropriate because this is a live broadcast. But we will pull those into the broadcast and answer questions as we go along. We will also try to bring everybody back in at the end to answer questions at the end if there's something that you think of after the fact. So please keep those coming. We do very much appreciate it. Without further ado, though, I do want to welcome in our next special guest, the dean, as it were, of the program area. That would be Mr. Jared Kavanaugh. How are you, Jared? How you doing tonight?
District. I'm doing good, Matt. How you doing?
Doing well. Thank you, sir.
That's good. Well, I'm proud to say advancement's still happening in Pathfinder District. I'd like to let everybody know that tonight, Mr. Noah Carroll is going for his Eagle Border Review, and tomorrow night, Mr. Graham Canowit is going for his Eagle Border Review. We're currently working on doing that all virtually, and they're happening by appointment. So if you need to get an Eagle Border Review, you still need to create an Eagle binder, but digitally you'll need to have your application, goals and ambitions, the Eagle Project Workbook, and all the spreadsheets and your narrative all stored as separate files attached to the email that will go to Mr. Tony Lang at thelang00@yahoo.com and Ms. Purdy up at the council office at crossroadsbsa.org. Once Mr. Lang receives your email, he will contact you with what exactly you're supposed to do with the binder. And then you will also start receiving some other emails from Mr. Gary Kavanaugh, not me, the other Mr. Kavanaugh. And it will get you going on that way to get your border review. Once again, their first email that will need to be sent out is to Mr. Tony Lang, and put Miss Margot Purdy on that as too. We're still doing Eagle Project reviews too. It's being done by video conference. What you will need for that is a digital copy of your Eagle Project Workbook and as many supporting documents that you can provide. Please remember that the more detail you put or your scout puts in these supporting documents, the easier it will be to show that you have a better understanding of all this. The documents for this to keep up with the YPT, and there's the Eagle Project reviews, is going to be to Mr. Lang at the same email and to Mr. Steve Heath at Steve Heath. They will contact you and will do the same thing, or you and the scout to do the same thing for the project review. The goal is for the project reviews to last no more than 30 minutes. So that's why they're really stressing detail. In terms of project extensions, if you're wanting a scout, your scout is wanting to have a project extension, have them contact me. And on the email, please include the unit leader. My email is my name @gmail.com. Just no spaces, run it all together. Depending on your request, depends on which form you'll have to fill out. So send me the letter explaining why a detailed letter and why you think you need the extension, and we'll get you the right form. Please, in that letter, contain the troop number you are with and the names of your advancement coordinator and your unit leader. That will help out a lot. And once again, for a Eagle Project workbook, you're going to include Mr. Lang and Ms. Purdy. And for Eagle Project reviews, you're going to do Mr. Lang and Mr. Steve Heath. And then for me, I'll take care of your extensions. Council will be starting a virtual merit badges soon. Some of you probably saw the email that went out today and yesterday to start finding counselors for those classes. I hope your units are having fun and being productive. Virtual meetings, virtual campouts. If your unit needs any help, please don't hesitate to contact me. That is why I'm here. In terms of training, please remember we need all of our unit leaders to be trained for the positions that they are registered for. You can access the BSA Learning Center through your Scout Book account. All positions trainings are available through the BSA Learn Center. If your unit needs a training report, please do not hesitate to contact me either. Let's see if our district can get 100% trained this year and for their positions. And let's get this done. Matt?
Excellent. Thank you very much, Jared. And I apologize there for the incorrect email address information. This is a learning curve for all of us, and unfortunately, some of the graphics didn't cooperate. So just to reiterate and make sure we have the accurate information for you, for Eagle Board to review, let me fix that real quick. For Eagle Board to review, to send your books and documentation, you're sending that to Mr. Tony Lang and Ms. Margot Purdy at the email addresses that are indicated here.
Yes.
For Eagle Project reviews, we're sending them to Mr. Tony Lang and Mr. Steve Heath at these email addresses. And then for Eagle Rank extensions, to yourself and your Scoutmaster and unit leader, advancement chair, what have you, at the email address indicated here. So I apologize for that error. Hopefully this will clarify that. So thank you, Jared. I do want to go ahead and bring back in Alan Wente real quick. Alan, if you are still there, because we had a question come up regarding summer camp, and I think Josh has stepped away, or Josh is still here too. We'll bring you in, Josh, as well. There was a question that came in regarding summer camp and the cancellation policy. Will the updated refund policy for COVID-19 also apply to Pathfinder District Day Camp? Alan and Josh, if you want to speak to that real quick.
Yeah. I mean, I would say yes. It's a council policy. So if we have to cancel camp due to any kind of COVID-related issues, then I think that same policy will apply to the district since we are a subunit of the council.
All right. Thank you for that information. And Josh, I will take that smile to mean that you concur with that information as well. Moving on with our agenda for tonight, we have a pair of ladies here to provide their input and their information. I'd like to welcome to the stream our district chair, Mrs. Angie Adelsberger, and then we also have our district commissioner, Marshall Broadwell. Ladies, how are you tonight? Welcome to the stream.
Thank you so much. Thanks for doing this. It's great. Thank you.
My pleasure. Do you have any words of wisdom or any updates from your departments of the district?
Angie, did you have anything? I do, but briefly. But
not really, other than we are rolling with the punches and trying to do the best we can as a district. So try, and if you have any questions, please ask your unit commissioners, your district commissioners. Ask us questions. We will find the answer for you. But at this point, we're just trying to make it through.
And I just wanted to add that even though that the Pathfinder Commissioner team is not able to come and visit your meetings in person, as we would like to do, we are still available to help you. I'm available. The entire Pathfinder Commissioner team is available. If you have questions, if there is anything that you can do anything that you need from us as far as support, we're here to help you. I am also planning to start reaching out to units, so please look forward to getting some calls and some emails from me in the next coming weeks. I can't do all of it by myself. I'm sure some of the other unit commissioners will be reaching out as well. But if you need anything, please email. It's marshallbroadwell@indy.gov. So thanks.
Excellent. Well, thank you both so much for your information and all of your hard work. We do all appreciate it out here with our units. Moving on to the next area here, we've got our next special guest, Mrs. Mickey Hamill, who will be joining us. She is our membership chair for the district. Mickey, how are you tonight?
Gotta unmute. Good. I hope everybody's doing well out there. So real quick, I know this is a very frustrating time. I know everybody's probably pretty concerned about getting new members, right? So I just want to make sure everybody's staying positive and make sure that while we're sitting at home and we're kind of in this lockdown, that we are not that we're not forgetting about recruiting, because before we know it, this is all going to clear. We're going to be back out in the public, and it's going to be recruiting time. So got to start planning for these really important dates. We have this fantastic guide to help you. This guide here, I think you can see it up on your screen, and it will be available. I'm not sure. We'll let Tucker speak to that when he comes up as far as how we get this out to y'all. I'm sure Tucker and Celia will be sending it to the Q3s. But this is a fantastic 12-step plan, and it really walks you through some great ideas of how to work on your recruitment membership. Of course, we don't want to limit our recruitment based on how much access we think we're gonna have in each school. So, and of course, we don't know how the schools are going to be coming back together when they start for the next season. So please make sure that you do fill out the full access, limited access, and no access options so that you have a plan regardless of what access you're going to have in your schools. Let's just go ahead and be prepared for that. And then also just remember that there is a difference, just for term wise, there is a difference in an open house versus the school's open house, which is what this plan talks about, and also versus when you're going to have your recruitment night at your meeting. That's it. Just don't confuse those two terms. Just want to make sure that that's clear to everybody. But yeah, so we should really be planning some great meetings to welcome in new scouts. And I wanted to mention this as well, as long as I got the floor for a minute. I really think we're going to see an increase this year in membership more than usual, because all of this stay-at-home stuff it's gonna end, and we're gonna all be out there kind of back in the world. And I think people are going to really appreciate more the idea of adventures and getting out there and things that they need to do with their kids. And the kids, I think, are going to be more excited. So well, the prospect of joining Scouts is a really exciting prospect for many kids. I think I'm hoping that we're going to see quite a bit of an increase in membership this year, just based on coming out of this whole, stuck in the house for so long. So let's not forget, and let's not just kind of stay stagnant since we can't meet right now and things seem so frustrating. Let's really start thinking about how we're going to recruit, because recruitment is going to happen, and before we know it, it's going to be here. So just a reminder that this is going to end, and we're going to be back out in the world and start having meetings, and we're going to get these kids and get them into the scouting program. So please utilize this fantastic resource that our council has for us to plan these items. And I think that's all for me.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Mickey. We're excited for a great recruiting season coming up this fall. This will all be behind us, I'm sure, by that point.
Matthew, are you there?
So,
where'd we go?
Can you see me? All right. Well, like I said, it's a great update for membership there. Thank you so much, Mickey. One question or one comment that did come in, and I just want to point this out as we're going along. Obviously, there are other activities outside of our not only district but also our council. Keith Carnes did mention that Venturing Fest 2020, being held at Summit Bechtel Reserve, is still on for the end of June as of this moment. So if you have a venturing crew out there and are interested in looking into that event, it's definitely something to worthwhile to look into. It is still on as of this moment. So double check that on your calendar, see if it's something that might fit into your program. Wanted to go ahead and bring up our next guest. This is someone that we all know and love. We're going to go ahead and bring in our district professional team. Celia couldn't join us tonight, but we do have Tucker LaPrade joining us from the LaPrade Homestead. So Tucker, if you can go ahead and unmute. Wonderful to have you with us tonight. How are you, sir?
I am doing awesome, Matt. This is like the best night in so many, and to be with everyone and hear everyone's great attitude and listen as we prepare for scouting. I mean, this is so great. Well, thank you for putting this on.
Excellent. Well, what updates do you have from us from the council office and from the professional team? Any words of wisdom for the units out there right now?
Yeah, Matt, I just have a couple things that I'm really going to be picking up on what some other folks said. So the first thing is, camp is a go. We are preparing for camp, just like Matt and Alan and Josh said right now. So we hope that you unit leaders out there, please continue to talk to your families. Continue to talk about the way that a summer camp can change lives, as many of us can attest here that are watching this or will watch it. We know that anything can happen when it comes to postponing events. We're really going to let the professionals in our government tell us what to do there. But as of this moment, camp is a go. Please continue to register for camp. Please continue to plan for camp. And won't it be amazing when this is behind us and we can be out at summer camp having such a wonderful time with our families. Believe it or not, for those of you that have been a unit popcorn share, as I myself have been, and I know Misty is watching, it is time to start thinking about the popcorn sale again in the fall. I was recently on a call with our Trails End, our wonderful friends at Trails End. There are some really, really great updates about popcorn coming up. I'm not going to drop too many hints, although I will tell you that the prizes and the percentage going to the youth is getting even better if that's possible. So one action item that you can all do right now, if you have not already, is assuming you know who your popcorn share is going to be for the fall, you can go ahead and register that person for the 2020 sale at crossroads.trails.com. And that's just a very easy, it takes about 60 seconds. Awesome way to do that and be prepared for the 2020 sale. Thank you, Mickey, for sharing the 12-step membership plan. That's so important that even though, we as a council are going to come and help you with the school talk and help you with flyers in the school and get prepared and all that Mickey and her team will do, it's really important to be thinking about with your unit committee, well, what are the other special things that you guys are going to do? Are you going to wear your uniforms to school? Are you going to do a Facebook campaign? There's so many other creative things, and scouting parents are some of the most creative on earth. So there's lots of opportunity. Last, I do want to really talk about the ideal year of scouting. That is, I think, the most pivotal thing that we can all do right now, right? Lots of us are staying at home. Some of us no longer, have a commute. We have a little bit more time on our hands. So I would just encourage you guys not only to attend those Ideal Year of Scouting sessions. That will be key. Please register for them. They only can take 100 people on the call at once, so you do need to register for them. And someone from each unit needs to attend one of those meetings. So, but go to that meeting, but then take the next step. Get your committee together and start planning your ideal year for next year. And that will be so important. And finally, the last thing, I want to pick up on something that Marshall said about reaching out to units. In the coming weeks, I will be trying to set up times where myself, Marshall, other unit commissioners can meet with unit key threes. At your convenience, we can set up a Zoom call or Microsoft Teams or any other platform that you guys like. And we can just take a little bit of time, maybe 20, 30 minutes to meet together, find out how it's going for you guys. How are you doing scouting at home? How are the Zoom DIN meetings and Zoom patrol meetings going? We want to hear from you and know how we can help. So I guess that's it. I'm gonna get the hook, but thank you again so much to Matt and his entire team. A special shout out to the other members of the Key Three, Celia and Marshall and Angie. It's a pleasure to work with you guys.
Well, thank you so much, Tucker. We appreciate your update. While I've got you here, I'm not going to give you a hook yet because we actually had a question come in. It's a two-parter, and I think you might be the best person to answer this. That comes from Clarissa Jones. Two questions. First of all, if camp is not able to be held and the refund policy, the COVID-19 refund policy comes into play, will refunds go back by the way that the payment was made, or is there going to be some other method that's going to come back? If you know that, if you could share it. And then also, when it comes to the adventure camps, before refunds are made, if canceled, is it possible to switch to a different date and still receive the early bird rate? So those might be a couple of very specific items, but do you have any insights on those?
Yep, absolutely. So the way we do refunds, we do typically refund the money in the way it was received. So if it came on a personal credit card, that's the way it gets refunded. If it got paid through a unit account, it gets refunded to the unit account. On the second question, we're purely in hypotheticals, right? So let's say there's a week of camp in June that gets canceled. I believe the question is, would you have an opportunity to schedule for July before getting refunded? Without talking to my friends in the program team, I think I could say that absolutely, if there were space in that particular week, you would absolutely have the opportunity to schedule to a week that was a go. Of course, this is a purely hypothetical at this point. We are hoping to have camp in June, but we as a council, as district, as volunteers are going to do everything that we can to get our kids to summer camp.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for that information, Tucker. Everybody else out there, if you have other questions for any of our presenters, not just Tucker or myself, but Alan or Jared, Angie, Josh, Mickey, Marshall, anybody who's been on the call, please continue to have this coming in. We're going to switch gears here, though, a little bit, and we're going to move on to, normally we have breakouts and we talk about different topics, and this one's actually going to fall into my wheelhouse. Our breakout topic tonight is really something that it started this broadcast, and we talked about it through the video that I took that from the Boy Scouts of America. Hopefully they don't get too mad at me, but it's a wonderful reminder that over the past more than 100 years in the history of scouting, we've seen a lot of crises in our history. I was talking with somebody the other day, and it was strange to remember that the company that this person worked for, as a matter of fact, had been through the original Great Depression, let alone the current situation that we're going through now. And scouting has the same history. We've been through many different times of turmoil and many different negative circumstances, and yet we've always found ways to overcome and to come through. And this situation is no different. there are a lot of initiatives out there talking about scouting at home. And specifically, it's more important than ever that not only for our district and for our council, but each of our units needs to begin planning for what scouting is going to look like for the next month, 2 months, 3 months, assuming that things are going to stretch out a little bit longer than April 30th. We're hopeful that things don't. We're hopeful that we can get back to some sense of normal sooner rather than later. But at the same time, we have to have a plan in place to be able to continue the efforts in scouting. Tucker and I were talking earlier off the stream before we got started, and he was remarking that it was a wonderful feeling to put his uniform back on for the first time in so long. And I hadn't really thought about it until he said it, but I hadn't worn my scout uniform either since mid-March. And it was an invigorating feeling getting ready for scouting. And if that's how the two of us feel, and I'm sure many of you out on the stream net right now feel the same way, imagine how your scouts feel. Imagine how they feel in a time of uncertainty where, schools are being, canceled for the rest of the year. They're having to remain at home. They're not able to go out. There has to be ways that we can continue the scouting tradition of overcoming obstacles and delivering an awesome, outstanding program to all of our scouts that now more than ever need that kind of guidance and that kind of program to be able to move forward. So tonight, I want to talk briefly about what scouting digitally can look like, some of the challenges that we need to overcome, but some of the tools that we also have at our disposal. And some of the suggestions that I'm going to give may or may not work for your unit, but this all needs to begin with an assessment of what your unit has, what your event structure allows for, and also what your scouts and their families have access to as far as resources. When we talk about scouting digitally and using different digital communications, there are a lot of buzzwords around right now. People talking about Zoom meetings left and right, Facebook Live, or doing FaceTime or video calls face-to-face. And there are a lot of things that we need to make sure that we're addressing, and that starts with knowing what your unit's capabilities are. So if you haven't done so yet, and I actually had the opportunity to do for my own pack, we did our first leadership committee meeting last night virtually to begin planning what the next steps for our unit would be. And if you haven't reached out to your unit yet, if you are a leader or a committee member, or with our Cub Scout units, a den leader, scouts who are on the call, if you're in a leadership position and have not reached out to your patrol or troop or your crew, take the time to do that now. If nothing else, reaching out and showing that we're still here and we're still connected and we can still communicate, and the rest of us scouts and scouters are thinking about you, that can be as reassuring as anything else that we can do. If you haven't taken the time to reach out to your unit set, please do so. It can be as simple as an email. It can be as simple as a phone call or a text chain, if that's the way that your unit communicates. When you're reaching out, ask what your families have access to. A lot of schools are switching over to e-learning, so some of our scouts will have Chromebooks or laptops or things like that at their disposal at home. But we also have to remember that not every family will. Not all of our school districts are one-to-one when it comes to digital devices and take-home devices. They're trying to get that fixed, but it's not there yet. 89% of the American public now owns a smartphone, but that means 11% don't. And so not everybody may have a streaming device to be able to take a video like this and receive it at home. So find out what the capabilities are of your scouts and of your families, because that's going to dictate kind of the direction that you go from there. The next thing that you need to do is decide what kinds of programs that you can do in a digital sense, because that's going to dictate the types of tools that you need to look into. Obviously, tonight we're using this as an example of a way of being able to get information out en masse and talk to as many people as possible. Live streaming is a great option. There are tools that you can use that make it simpler. The one that I'm using tonight, this is a program, this is not an endorsement, This is a program called StreamYard, StreamYard.com is the name of the website. And while they do have a paid version, there is a free version of this available. It allows you to put together a stream that can have multiple people on it, just like you're seeing tonight. It can run from pretty much any computer because it's in the cloud, and it lets you broadcast direct to a Facebook page, a Facebook group, a YouTube channel. There are a lot of different options. The free version will give you the opportunity to reach out to your scouts. So if you wanted to do an activity, if you wanted to do a pack meeting where you don't necessarily need everybody to be able to talk in return, but you want them to be able to see the excitement and engage comments like you're commenting tonight, live streaming is a great option to do that. The challenge is two-way communication. So if you're doing something more like a committee meeting, or specifically for our troops patrol meetings, if you're looking for your packs for den meetings, that's where video conferencing has a great advantage. And there are a ton of tools out there. Everybody's talking about Zoom these days. Zoom is a program that does have a free version. It has its limitations. There have been concerns on that about security. They are working on that. There have been updates that have come out to try to fix it, but it's not the only option that's out there. There are actually older tools that are available. There's a program called GoToMeeting, which is available if you would like to use it. Discord, Skype is still around. We often forget about that one. The one that I use personally for my unit is called Google Meet. It's what used to be called Google Hangouts. If anyone in your unit has a Google account, like an actual G Suite paid account, Google Meet is free within that program. And if you don't have one, it's $72 for the year, and it gives you an email address that you could use for your unit. And you also get Google Meet along with it. It can host up to right now up to 250 people at once, so it's easily large enough for any of our units that are out there to be able to operate a meeting, and it allows for more of that two-way communication. The downside is it can get very chaotic if you don't have experience running it and don't have the ability to be able to control the conversations. And if you use Zoom or any of those other tools in your business, you'll know what I'm talking about. A lot of side conversations can distract from the overall tone of the meeting. So make sure you're keeping those under control. The other tool to remember is, and this is specifically going to be for troops where we're working on merit badges with merit badge counselors, or if we're doing boards of review or things like that. For very small groups, most smartphones these days have the capability of doing video conferencing within themselves. If you have an Apple device within iOS, obviously you have Messenger, and you can do video FaceTime. FaceTime can actually handle up to, I believe, 36 people at once. It's more robust than most people realize. Android devices have the same thing. You could use that for your small communications to be able to connect people together and do those one-on-one or three-way calls or four-way calls, depending on what the case may be, and continue to move things forward in that way. As you're doing these online meetings, though, there are some things that we do have to remember. First of all, youth protection applies digitally as much as it applies in person. So there can never in any case be a one-to-one contact between an adult and a youth. So make sure you're always applying too deep leadership to your digital platforms. If it's for a large group, that should be fairly simple to do, because you're going to have more parents involved and you're going to have more adult leaders involved. But if you are doing those merit badge counseling sessions, if you are doing those boards of reviews or your Scoutmasters conferences, if you are having a den leader meet with a scout to verify activities that are being done for an adventure at the Cub Scout level, make sure that you have a parent or another registered leader in there to validate and verify YPT is being followed. Also, when it comes to digital, something to be very keenly aware of is how public the broadcast can be. Once it's on the web, it's on the web. And if you're doing a video, this video is being recorded and it is going to be out there on broadcast. And so any information that we're putting out there is going to be publicly accessible. So you have to be very careful on the platform where you're putting the information for view. If you're using Facebook, the thing to remember is there's actually 3 different types of Facebook platforms. The Facebook profile, what all of us have individually to be able to be on Facebook and communicate, is not really going to be the right platform to do this. because it's a one-to-one communication. So your unit probably either has a Facebook page or a Facebook group, and they are two vastly different things. A Facebook page is a fantastic tool for promoting a unit, for telling the world about the awesome things that our scouts are doing, but it's also telling the world. So we need to be very careful about not recording anything that has youth in video, especially where names are being used, and putting it on a Facebook page. Those should be kept in Facebook groups so that the message can be controlled to only the members of that group. So if you have a group for your scouts to be able to communicate with one another, if you have a group for adults, whether it be parents or other family members or leaders to communicate with one another, keep the video recordings within groups as much as possible if youth are going to be involved. You also want to make sure that you're never using a youth's full name. Always remember to keep it to first names only when you're dealing with youth. You also need to, whenever you're using video conferencing software, be very mindful of not sharing links publicly. Make sure that you're keeping those only to people that you're inviting. Zoom is obviously the biggest buzz name in this right now. There have been security breaches there where people can just take the link and join any Zoom meeting they want. They're changing that in many respects from a security standpoint, but it's not perfect yet. So make sure that you keep those security controls on lockdown and only share the link with the people that need to be on it. Never post it publicly on a Facebook page and never put it out on a website. You also want to make sure that your streams and your videos are fun. We were getting ready, as we were discussing with our pack, putting together a pack meeting and talking about how, in our meeting, we were discussing the activity to do, and it was heartwarming that during our conference call, which was only supposed to be adult leaders, we all have kids, they were trying to get on the call as much as possible as well. And they were excited and wanted to be engaged and wanted to jump on and wanted to help out with their ideas. So as much as possible, get the kids involved. Have them provide the information and the ideas. One of the youth on our call is the one who came up with the idea for the activity that we're going to do on our PAC meeting. Be mindful of your environment as you're doing calls as well. Obviously, you see my family coming through right now. I think everybody can understand that right now it's a very difficult situation and we're having to operate in ways that we wouldn't normally otherwise operate. We know that there's going to be distractions. Try to keep them to a minimum as much as possible. Try to broadcast from a quiet environment. And whenever you're broadcasting or whenever you're doing this, wear your uniform. It is a great reminder of what we're trying to do in scouting, and get your scouts to wear it as well. It will help reconnect them with the program. And I'm going to tell you right now, the scouts are eager and they're anxious and they're excited to get back into things. They want to do the program. They want to put that uniform on. They want to get excited about something again. Get them involved, whether it's a live stream, whether it's a video chat, whether it's a video conference. Find some way to get everybody together. And there are tons of great resources out there. At Crossroads America Council's website, on the front page, there are two links. One is for the announcements section where it's going to update you on other things that are coming out related to COVID-19. But there's a green bar that's talking about nothing but scouting at home. And it's providing great activity ideas and program incentives, updates about ways to do merit badges and meetings online. If you haven't been to the website yet, definitely go check it out. There are some wonderful resources there that you can look into. There are some great things that you can use with your scouts and with your units. Put that information to work. Put those resources to work. There are also great things that are coming out on Facebook from other scouting units. I know that there are a couple of members of other district committees watching this stream right now, getting ideas for how they can take this and take it back to their district to run a live stream roundtable. There are ideas that I'm gathering from other districts on ways that we can improve our communications. Take those ideas and make it work to the best of your ability. That's mainly the information that I have to cover tonight. If you have questions, we have everybody here. In fact, I'm going to start bringing some people back in right now. Tucker's coming back in. Let me see here. We've got Jared, Angie, Marshall. We're going to grab smiling faces. If you have questions, please bring them to us right now. Let me see here. A few comments here. Marshall, this is one for you. From Eric Storing. Remember to include your unit commissioners for unit or planning meetings, please. So, Marshall, do you have any words of wisdom for units to be able to reach out to their commissioners? Do you have any meetings coming up that they need to know about?
We don't have any scheduled right now, but we're all available. So if you have questions about who your unit commissioner is, if you need to get something to your unit commissioner or you're looking for some type of support from us, you can contact me directly and I will take care of it. Okay?
Excellent.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Eric. Just start going through here real quick. We have a comment on the audio, and this is another point when it comes to video communication. Somebody's commenting on my microphone. One of the advantages of being involved in digital marketing for a living is that I've got the tools to be able to do it. This is a USB separate microphone. I'm not going to give out the brand name because I don't want to give out any plugs, but do double check to have the best possible connection, have the best possible resources at your disposal. The quality of the broadcast is going to feed into it. If you've got a strong internet connection, if you've got a strong camera, if you've got a strong microphone, it is going to factor into whether or not people are going to tune in. We do have a question here for Tucker. Can you repeat what the URL was for the popcorn kernel sign up? Do you have that information handy right now? And you are still on mute.
There we go. Sorry about that. If you want to throw it on the screen, Matt, it is crossroads.trailsin.com.
All right. Comment. Create.
That's trails-n.com.
There we go. Crossroads.trailsn.com. That is where you need to go for registering for popcorn kernels. So thank you so much. That is a great question, Daniel. We do have a question here from Brian Holtz, and this one we'll pitch out to the group. Does the recent virtual merit badge link qualify the actual BSA merit badge counselor application? I think what they're asking here is, does that link replace applying as a merit badge counselor? And I believe, and Jared, you can jump in on this one, I believe the answer to that is no. They have to be a registered merit badge counselor and take the training for virtual.
Yes, correct. That is correct. It does not replace the actual application.
Do they send that to
All right.
council now? Do they fill it out and send it to council?
Yes, they can fill it out digitally.
And Tucker, because I know this question has come up from a couple of people, if we are receiving, hopefully we are continuing to recruit and get some digital, or we get some new scout applications, or if we have applications to turn in. Obviously, the office is currently closed. How are we going to submit that paperwork? What's the best way to get that to the council right now?
Yeah, so our registrars are still coming in every couple times a week. So the best way is really to drop it in the mail to the council. If you give it to me, I would basically do the same thing, because I can't submit someone's social security number via email. So the best way to submit adult applications at this point is just to put them in the mail to the council office.
Following back to the popcorn kernel registration thing, somebody did point out I had a typo. There is a hyphen in that address. Thank you, Jennifer Beyer. Crossroads.trails-and.com. There is a hyphen there. My apologies. Question now from Clarissa Jones. Can we scan and send applications to Margot? I'm assuming them is referring to applications.
Youth applications, yes. Adult applications, though, do have to have a social security number on them. So please put those to the mail rather than digitally, unless you, I guess, have a really good encryption service. Our emails won't allow us to send or receive that sort of thing.
Excellent. Just scanning real quick to see if there were any other questions that I missed. in the meantime, I do want to thank everyone for joining us. I know that we peaked at one point to more than 40 people on the stream at one time. So for a first go around, thank you so much, everybody out there in Pathfinder District, for joining us tonight. Hopefully, and I've always been quoted as saying hope is not a business plan. However, hopefully we will be able to be back together for an in-person roundtable soon. But Angie, I'm going to throw this one to you as our district chair. Let's say that for whatever reason we're unable to meet past the beginning of May. Are we going to continue doing digital roundtables, or we're going to try to figure something else out?
We're going to continue to do it digitally. Better safe than sorry.
So keep your ears peeled, everybody out there. If for whatever reason we cannot meet again in May, do plan on roundtable being virtual. There might be a couple of tweaks here to iron out some of the bugs, but ultimately live streaming it again on Facebook, on YouTube, and via our website. If you have not had a chance to do so yet, please on YouTube go and subscribe. Make sure you hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel. Also hit the bell to get notifications whenever new videos come out, because we have more video content that we are able to publish. That way you get it as soon as possible. If you also have not had a chance to like our Facebook page, please do so. Pathfinder BSA, or Pathfinder-CACBSA. Definitely check out our page. We put up content all the time. We can answer your questions. We can answer your comments there as they come in. So please follow us on Facebook. We do have a Twitter handle as well for Pathfinder. We also have an Instagram, and we're working on a Snapchat, but that's designed for people younger than me. So we'll see how that works. We're not seeing any other questions coming in. So I do want to thank everybody again for joining us, all the members of our panel, Tucker, Jared, Josh, Marshall, Angie. We also had Alan, who is still hiding here.
I'm still here.
Where did Matt go? Uh-oh.
Oh, we lost our host.
Matt, thank you so much for doing this. You did a wonderful job. Thank you. It was terrific.
It's my pleasure. There's a limitation. I can only have 6 people on the screen at one time, so I had to sacrifice myself to bring Alan in. But if anyone else has questions, please go ahead and send them to us. Our emails are on the district webpage, pathfinderbsa.org. We'll take you directly to our district page. All of our leadership is there. We have links to our email addresses. If you have a question, please send it our way. If you have a concern, if you need help with your unit, our goal is at the end of this, we want to have 0 scouts stop scouting simply because of this delay. So make sure you're reaching out to your scouts. If you need help, let us know. We will get you the resources that you need. But thank you so much for everybody out there for all you do for scouting. This is Matthew Kennedy and the district commission or district committee signing off. Have a wonderful evening, and we will talk to you coming very soon. Have a great night, everybody. Bye.